is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon. We begin today with breaking news out of Grand Forks. A man charged with kidnapping a 6-year-old girl will spend the next 10 years in jail. Court documents say 52-year-old Robert Burr kidnapped the girl in the 900 block of Belmont Road this summer, telling her they were going to go get ice cream. The girl told police Burr picked her up while she was playing near an alley with her friends. The girl was later dropped off in that same alley that Burr picked her up in. Police say they were able to find him based on the description her friends gave them. Back in 2017, Burr was convicted of attempt to kidnap a woman who was rollerblading in East Grand Forks. New information on the condition of a West Fargo police officer we were the first to tell you about yesterday morning. 29-year-old Tim Brown has now been transferred to a Nebraska hospital. He's listed in critical condition. According to the police department, Officer Brown suffered a heart attack early yesterday morning at the Cass County Jail while he was booking 2 women. They say he collapsed and was unresponsive. His medical team says he remains on a ventilator and on a heart bypass machine, but has been showing positive signs like opening his eyes. A GoFundMe has been set up by the West Fargo Police Association to raise funds for Officer Brown and his family. For a link to that, just click this story on valleynewslive.com. Another vandalism to a downtown Fargo church. The statue of St. Anthony outside St. Anthony of Padua Catholic Church had its head knocked off sometime between Saturday and this morning. The church is asking for anyone in the area of 10th Street and 8th Avenue South with cameras to review their footage. In August, a vandal decapitated the church's statue of the Virgin Mary. Now here's Hutch with a first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Stacy, thanks so much. We do have cloudy skies here in the FM area, and from time to time areas across the valley have seen white flakes drifting out of the sky. Yeah, it's a cold one out there. Temperatures are not hot, and in fact that northwest flow and the cool air this weekend caused this scene up in Roseau County. If you missed it, it was one of those kind of weekends. Not too spooky though, but just a taste of what is on its way. 30s and 40s for peak temperatures today. That's the best we could do with the warmest weather in the Southern Valley and right here in the Red River Valley. Low 40s continue here in Grand Forks and Fargo, 37 Jamestown and north into the Devil's Lake Basin as well. 33 in Badette, though. It's a chilly one in north central Minnesota, and the satellite radar shows that we have this batch of unsettled weather with hit and miss flakes of snow or showers of rain in Marshall County, Minnesota, out towards Pennington County. So a few of these could be briefly even heavy. Don't be surprised to see flakes in Argyle making its way in toward Thief River Falls, Red Lake Falls as well, but in Fargo, I can't rule out a flurry here or there, kind of like we saw yesterday on your Halloween. Temperatures diving into the 20s. It looks like our coldest weather of the week is ahead. We'll have details on that, but we will talk about a warm-up as well in just a few moments.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch. Police say a girl who was a reported runaway from Fargo earlier last month is now reported a runaway in Bismarck. She's 17-year-old Patricia Freeman. Her picture is there on your screen. Police say after she went missing from Fargo, she was eventually found in Bismarck. If you know anything regarding where she is, you're asked to call police at the number on your screen. Police in Bemidji want to remind you that if you have any information on Jeremy Jourdain, to contact them. The 17-year-old left a Bemidji home on Halloween night in 2016 and hasn't been heard from since. His family and loved ones have been waiting for answers for 5 years. If you have any information about Jeremy, contact police at 218-333-9111. New for you at 4, vaccine mandates took effect today at Sanford and Essentia in Fargo. Essentia tells us 49 employees were dismissed today for deciding against vaccination and choosing not to seek an exemption. At Sanford, VP Dr. Doug Griffin tells us out of the 9,800 employees in the Sanford-Fargo region, only 31 have left as a result of the vaccine mandate. Of the 31, he says 0 are physicians, physician's assistants, nurse practitioners, or CRNAs. All True up in Grand Forks is requiring all employees to be fully vaccinated by November 15th. We could see COVID-19 shots in the arms of children this week. The FDA gave the authorization for ages 5 to 11 last week, and the CDC could give the final green light as soon as tomorrow. As Anthony Pura reports, while some parents are preparing to vaccinate their children, others are hesitant.
The Rosenzweigs cannot wait for the entire family to be protected against COVID-19.
I remember the extreme excitement over getting vaccinated, and then all of a sudden it kind of hit me that my kids weren't going to get vaccinated.
David and Elliot are among 28 million children ages 5 to 11 that could be eligible as soon as this week.
So that way I can get with my friends more.
Some parents are hesitant. One survey shows less than 1 in 3 parents will have their children get the COVID vaccine right away. Another third will wait and see. Dr. Corey Cross is an American Academy of Pediatrics spokesperson.
I hear your concerns, and I love that you worry about your child. And I think that talking to your pediatrician will help you to work through those concerns.
While children are less likely to get severe COVID, thousands of children have been hospitalized. Pfizer's lower dose vaccine was found to be 91% effective. No serious side effects have been detected in about 3,100 children, 5 through 11.
For parents who tell me that they don't know the long-term risks of the vaccine, I would say we also don't know the long-term risks of COVID. We really have to weigh the risks and benefits of everything.
That includes the impacts children have endured with education, activities, and mental health.
They are still bearing the brunt of what happens when COVID spreads through their community. So to that extent, it's really important to get children vaccinated.
You always are nervous when you're giving your child a vaccine. And I think that this is our way out of the pandemic.
For the Rosenzweigs, the vaccine is how their family finally gets back to normal. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Rarely, some teens and young adults have experienced a serious side effect of myocarditis or heart inflammation. Health authorities say the vaccine benefits outweigh the risk of this uncommon side effect. About 9,000 New York City workers are now on unpaid leave after refusing to comply with the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Mayor Bill de Blasio says the mandate is working, with more than 3,500 employees getting the shot over the weekend. As of this morning, 91% of all city workers are vaccinated. Among the holdouts, 15% of police officers, 17% of sanitation workers, and 23% of firefighters. In the coming days, the Biden administration is planning to publish its rule requiring private sector companies with 100 or more employees to mandate the vaccine or adopt a regular testing and masking policy. Demonstrators gathered outside the U.S. Supreme Court today as the justices heard 2 challenges to the strict Texas law that restricts abortion as soon as a fetal heartbeat is detected. Today's arguments focused on legal questions around the law's enforcement mechanism, not abortion itself. The statute allows private citizens to bring civil lawsuits with penalties of at least $10,000 for violating the law. Abortion advocates warn it's the biggest threat to reproductive rights in decades, and the Biden administration says the law was intentionally designed to try and evade federal review.
It's an attack on the authority of this court to say what the law is and to have that judgment respected across the 50 states.
The high-stakes arguments come as many conservative-leaning states across the country have passed abortion restrictions. It's part of an effort to get the issue before the newly conservative Supreme Court, with 6 conservative justices, including 3 appointed by former President Trump. For the first time, Alec Baldwin talked directly to reporters about the deadly shooting of the cinematographer on his new movie. While he says he's not allowed to comment on the investigation, Lilia Luciano tells us he did talk about his close ties to the deceased.
She was my friend. She was my friend. The day I arrived in Santa Fe to start shooting, I took her to dinner.
With wife Hilaria by his side, actor Alec Baldwin broke his silence about the accidental shooting that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins and spoke with photographers on the side of the road in Vermont.
There are incidental accidents on film sets from time to time, but nothing like this. This is a 1 in a trillion episode. It's a 1 in a trillion.
The actor said he's cooperating with police and has met with Hutchins' husband and their 9-year-old son.
The guy is overwhelmed with grief. We are, in constant contact with him because we're very worried about his family and his kid.
Criminal defense attorney Rachel Fisay said Baldwin's decision to speak directly to media may not have been a good idea.
Every defense attorney wants to stick a piece of tape over their client's mouth during an active investigation or an active case.
We were a very, very, well-oiled crew shooting a film together, and then this horrible event happened.
But the investigation seems to paint a different picture. Last week, investigators said Assistant Director David Halls told them he did not completely check the gun that killed Hutchins for live rounds before declaring it safe to use.
The fact that he also said he did not check the gun was a bit astonishing to me as an attorney.
He's kind of incriminating himself in a way.
Yeah.
Baldwin says he doubts the production will start up again and vocalized the need for change on sets.
I do know that an ongoing effort to limit the use of firearms on film sets is something I'm extremely interested in.
Lilia Luciano, CBS News.
Baldwin says he stopped to talk to the press so that photographers would stop following his family. He's currently staying with family in Vermont. K9 Rex with the Polk County Sheriff's Office is now a little safer on duty thanks to a donation from a nonprofit. Rex received a bullet and stab protective vest from the group Vested Interest in Canines. It was sponsored by a couple from McIntosh, Minnesota. It's embroidered with "Born to Love, Trained to Serve, Loyal Always." Still to come, a first for the FM area. We'll take you inside a new female-owned butcher shop.
And what a weekend it was. A little spooky out there with flakes of snow that covered the ground in some areas near Roseau. And this former weather kid was a Halloween trick-or-treater as a weather guy. Thanks, Sarah, for sharing your photo. It's going to be cold out there. In fact, it already is. Many of us not even making it to 40 today. Even colder tomorrow with a few flakes. Details next.